We will talk all the games with our buddy Joel Klatt, Fox Sports. Normally on Mondays. He had a conflict. He'll be back on Mondays. You love him on Mondays. He'll be back there, but a rare Thursday appearance by Klatt. What is up, Klatt? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing today?
Doing awesome. Thanks a lot. Texas Tech I've talked a lot about them in the offseason. It's kind of one of my adopted teams. Simply because I just want to see if you can legitimately buy your way into the national championship discussion. They've got a billionaire who's like,
we've sent it in the SEC for 10 years.
For those keeping score, I don't think we're 45 seconds in before Klatt takes a shot at the SEC. Texas Tech is not exactly a college football blue blood, Klatt, but I mean, they are spending the money in the NIL. It's a fascinating model they've got.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think all that different from. I don't think that we quite view it the same when it's Tech non-blue blood, non-traditional, and we're like, oh, they're trying to buy their way in. When the blue bloods have spent, it was reported Ohio State. I won't even go SEC. Ohio State spent, $20 million last year on their roster. And granted, that was mostly to retain their roster, but they went out and got Judkins and Howard and Caleb Downs, and we don't put that in the same bucket as we do when it's Texas Tech, and we feel like somehow they're like, infringing upon, college football royalty by trying to come in here and build themselves up. I think as I talk with Joey and the guys down there, they're trying to compete to the best of their abilities with the rules that are currently in practice. And they're doing that. They knew they needed to get better on the defensive side, because the offense was fine. They could go play with anybody offensively in the Big 12, and now their defense is a lot better. They spent, I thought, pretty smart dollars on the defensive line. When I'm looking at the ability to rush the passer and I'm watching film and I'm taking notes, these guys just continue to stick out. Romello Height, the transfer from Georgia Tech, really good player. David Bailey, the transfer from Stanford, really good player. Skylar Gill-Howard, he was a kind of a no one in the portal, and yet he comes in and he plays one of their defensive line positions. He came from Northern Illinois, and these guys are making life difficult on opposing offenses. And I legitimately think Tech and Utah, by the way, I think they're both closer to top 10 programs than the rankings suggest. And I can't wait for this game. But yeah, the question about, like building yourself up, I guess, and I'm not pushing back. It's not a bad question. My question back would be like, what? If you're a fan of Tech, don't you expect them to do this? Like, if you're a fan of any team, shouldn't you expect your team to do this?
Yeah, I guess my point, the how I differentiate them in Ohio State is Ohio State's always been there, right? And I'm just saying, can you buy your way into the club? Can you go to the exclusive club that is Ohio State
Oregon's
and Alabama?
Been trying to do it.
They have been, and they haven't been able to.
Trying to do it for years.
Yeah, it's hard to do, obviously.
Oklahoma State tried to do it.
They did.
And got close. All of them have gotten close. And Oregon might reach the mountaintop before it's all said and done. They're the one with the endless pockets. I think that's a great question. And now you've got blue bloods that are trying to get themselves like back in. Right. USC. They're like, okay, we're trying to climb back into the game. But right now, if you're not spending, you're not competing. Period.
Because you brought up the SEC, I'm going to ask this question for a friend. A friend wants to know, Joel, right now your top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC.
No, Arch is not in my top 5.
Okay, all right, good.
We'll let it go right there.
Look, is that all you wanted? You wanted me to get to 5 without Arch?
You were scoffing me up. I brought up Ty Simpson.
I did,
and you scoffed, and then I said,
I would have done the same thing if I were you. I would have called me out right away.
Well, let me ask you this though.
To ask me a different question.
I threw a softball
before we went right there. You softened it up.
I think that you respect Sarkisian as far as his play calling as much as anyone out there. And Arch coming into the season, it looked like if you're going to get rid of a guy like Quinn Ewers, Arch is going to be really good. So it is baffling. It's baffling when you play UTEP and you have 10 straight incompletions. It's baffling in this system you're only completing 55% of your passes. What do you think is wrong right now? Is it just between the ears, and do you think he gets this thing right?
So it's 55% overall. It's 46% when he's throwing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
Jeez.
Not 10 yards now. Like, normally we differentiate 10 yards or more. No. Just beyond the line of scrimmage, it's 46%. So I'm eating crow here. I'm going to agree with you. And, Arch has been really bad. And I went back and I watched all the attempts. And here's my best. Number one, I don't know what's going on. Guys, the offense isn't quite as good around him as the offense was a year ago. They're banged up at running back. The offensive line's not great. There's a little bit of pressure, but not a significant amount of pressure. And so you try to take all of that under consideration. But I will tell you this. He is out of rhythm and off time. He's ahead of the offense. Almost every snap, he's ahead of the offense, because I'm a big believer, and I know Sark is as well, timing plus spacing equals completions. So the picture that the route concept is providing and the timing with which the quarterback is trying to play, they have to marry up, and those are like puzzle pieces. And that's an old West Coast system from Bill Walsh. That's kind of that equation. And then timing plus ball placement equals yards after the catch. So that's like the next domino. In order to get yards after the catch. Well, the quarterback's feet are the timing mechanism. And so I know it changes a little bit out of shotgun, but if you're just under center, there's a quick 3 and firm. There's a quick 3 and close. There's a quick 5 and firm. There's a quick 5 and close. There's a big 5 and close. There's a quick 7 and firm. There's a quick 7 and close. There's a big 7 and close. There's all these different timings. Those are dropbacks, right? Number of steps in the dropback. And every concept is married to one of those timings because of the specific timing of the picture that is created. Well, Arch is ahead of the picture constantly, all the time. He's ready to throw, and there's nothing being developed. So there's a total disconnect between either the timing created or the fact that Arch is ready to move on. And then because of that, his eyes go down and he starts to feel pressure that isn't quite there, and he starts to move and he's off balance, and then he jumps at his throw and his left foot is way too far outside left. So he's actually throwing staggered versus in line. So he doesn't get the rotation necessary to get his arm over the top. So his arm drips down 3/4, and then all of a sudden it floats down low, and then he's dirting balls, and it's like this never-ending series of dominoes that start to cascade over, all because the rhythm of his drop back and the rhythm with which he's playing within his feet is totally off. So is it fixable? I don't know. Does it all of a sudden unlock one game and he starts to feel the rhythm? Cool runnings, feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. I don't know. Yeah. But that's to me the issue. So people can disagree with that, but when I watch it, that's what I see, is a cascading series of dominoes that start with the fact that the timing of the offense is totally off.
And it's so funny to see that name on the back of the jersey, Manning, because I always thought Peyton Manning had the most textbook, weirdest looking, but to me, he looked like he was an animated how you throw a football. He always looked so textbook on how he threw a football, and Arch now is so off that.
And remember, Manning, if you think back, and you can even pull up clips, Peyton got way over his front foot. When he threw, everything came through, and he would almost get on his front toe. It would almost be like he was coming all the way over his front foot. When you watch Arch throw, he puts that front foot out way out front left and never even gets close to it. And it acts as like a stop, like a tripod. And then he can't even get to his front foot. So he never goes over it. And there's never any follow through. The ball's up, the ball's down, the ball's inaccurate. So again, the way he's playing technically, poor. The way he's playing from a decision-making standpoint, off rhythm and off time. His feet, not in... The fix is there. You can become better at all of those things. You really can. And I would assume that it will get better, but right now it's not very good.
If only there was an off-season academy he could go to in Louisiana,
right. Good instruction
with a lot of quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Klatt, serious question, though. Can you win a championship with average play from Arch? It's a really good defense.
No.
Okay.
Not when you see the way Tennessee's playing offensively, and Georgia is able to answer the bell and play offensively, not with the way that A&M looked offensively. Texas's defense is very good. There's no doubt, but they're not going to go through the SEC schedule and win, 17-13. I don't think that that's available. This is not 2011-12, anymore, or 2008 and 9. Like, that's not going to be afforded them. It's my same issue with LSU right now. It's like, hey, I know you've won some big games, but you don't look like the teams that can go out there. That Georgia-Tennessee game opened my eyes. Now, granted, I remember very well when, if you played a game like that, that was an indictment on every defense in your entire conference. Remember that when you guys used to do that to the Big 12? But that's okay. Now it's just a great offensive game, and it was. And Gunnar Stockton's fourth down throw was incredible. Mm-hmm. It really was. And Aguilar was answering the bell. But you cannot win a championship if your quarterback plays like Arch is playing, or Nussmeier is playing, or Lagway is playing. That's not going to happen.
So I'm going to be DJ Durkin. I walk into my defensive meeting this week at Auburn, and I look around to all my assistants, and I say, okay, guys, how do we stop John Mateer this week? So answer that question for me.
So I know this is going to sound crazy, but Michigan was close because they totally took away the run game with the running backs. And then the pressure that was being applied was like this. Like, do you know how many times, guys, if you watch the film, Mateer gets the ball away like just in time, or escapes a free rusher? Well, that's all you can do as a defensive coordinator. So if you're DJ Durkin, that's all you can do is put your players in position to succeed. So I would look at the Michigan game plan and just try to bank on the fact that, hey, I think it's going to be hard for John Mateer to put a cape on his back time and time again. And I'm going to put him in a position where he has to do that. So the number one thing that Auburn has to do is take away the running backs for Oklahoma. And then early in that game, I think that you've got to be able to defend on the edge, and in particular, take away some of that, what I would say, lateral game, some of the shots down the field, and try to force this totally onto Mateer. My fear for Auburn, though, is this seems like a game that could be a fairly evenly matched game, fairly evenly matched. And I think they're both good teams. And, generally games like that, guys, come down to quarterback play. Well, right? Like, who are you taking at quarterback in this game?
Well,
I would take Mateer.
I mean,
yeah.
We
right.
Yeah.
I'll save the graphic. I'll take Arnold.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's based on what we have seen, Klatt, over the last couple of years. It is Mateer. It's not even close. That could change Saturday, but it's Mateer right now.
Maybe. And Venables and that defense and that staff, more importantly, it's not just that they get to study Jackson Arnold, for the last couple of years. They know intimately what he struggles with. Intimately. In fact, it drove them nuts, right? We can't do this or that. What is he? So I think that the advantage is clearly with OU. Now, I firmly believe Auburn could go win the football game. There's no doubt about it. It's not a foregone conclusion, but there's just a lot of advantages that make me lean towards Oklahoma in this game.
Joel Klatt is with us, college football analyst, Fox Sports. You'll see him on the Big Noon Kick, Texas Tech at Utah, coming up this Saturday on Fox. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag, code next round. When you sign on at MyBookie.ag, and that code is going to get you that bet back bonus up to $500. You make your first bet, they cover it up to $500. If you lose, right back into your account, and you can go again. That's when you sign up and use code next round at MyBookie.ag. Texas A&M went on the road and got a win over Notre Dame.
That looks good, man. Craver looks incredible. That dude is fast.
He can fly.
Yeah. There was an obvious hold at the end of that game. It says here it was an SEC crew that missed it. I don't know if that contributed to the win.
I mean,
have you had anything to say about that this week,
struggle late.
Have you had anything to say about that SEC crew missing that call late? I think I saw you all over the place this week.
No, it doesn't have anything. People think that I was taking a shot at the SEC crew. No, it had nothing to do with the SEC crew. In general, I think late game officiating frustrates me because I don't think that you need to totally swallow the whistle. But at the same time, I don't want you to make yourself a part of a 50-50 play that could go either way. So to me, it's like a spectrum, right? If there's an 85-15 or a 90-10 call where it's like, hey, that's pretty clear and obvious, and it's obviously impacting the play, then the call needs to be made. And that was an obvious hole. He tackled him right there. The pressure's going to show up right in the face of the quarterback. Needs to be called. On the previous set of downs, there was a hold on the opposite side, defensive holding, that needed to be called and was. And rightly so, because they tackled him in the defensive backfield. So you can't tell me like, well, the obvious call with a minute left has to be called, but with 8 seconds left, we're going to swallow the whistles. It is a general officiating frustration of mine. It has nothing to do with what conference and the affiliation of the conference that the officials were from.
Notre Dame is 0-2 now. It's not an extremely challenging schedule ahead of them, but they have really no margin for error at all.
Yeah. I mean, they have to win out.
Yeah.
They have to win out. And then they have to hope that Miami is as good as we think that they are.
Right.
And maybe A&M is as good as we think that they are. Because here's the thing. If Notre Dame is, let's just say the constant here will be that they win out. All right? Like, I think that they're good enough to do so. Maybe they stumble, but let's just say that they're 10-2. Hypothetical scenario. 10-2 versus with your 2 losses being against 8-4 Miami, not in the ACC championship game, and 7-5 Texas A&M, barely bowl eligible, is a lot different. I mean, light years, hemispheres different than 10-2. Your losses against ACC champ Miami, and on the doorstep or in the SEC championship game A&M.
Yes.
So Notre Dame's path, while it's in their control because they've got to run off 10 straight victories, largely isn't in their control because I think it lies completely in the hands of Miami and Texas A&M and how they look moving forward and where they're able to go ultimately. Because in the argument, the entire argument is going to be, well, they lost 2 games early, close. Well, how good were those teams? So to me, it's all about Miami and A&M.
I know he's underachieved in year 4, Lincoln Riley at USC, but Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, even the off-brand quarterback, Spencer Rattler's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and Miller Moss is starting for undefeated Louisville. Jade Maeva, I wanted to get to him. First of all, what makes Lincoln Riley such a good quarterback coach? And Maeva, I thought he would be more Miller Moss, Spencer Rattler, but I'm starting to think he's an elite quarterback.
He's been terrific, and quietly so. And I think not many people on the eastern side of the country are wanting to even look at USC at this point, but they're actually pretty good. And the blueprint that they're following is more in line with what Oklahoma followed when Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma. Maeva is a terrific talent, there's no doubt, and he developed a lot in this offseason. The game that he's starting to show me on the field now is different than what he showed late last season when he was getting onto the field. That offense is obviously quarterback friendly. Lincoln Riley famously always says to me, I say like, well, tell me about this and that and how it helps the quarterback. And he just always says to me, he's like, listen, if your system isn't a quarterback friendly system, then you need a new system. Because that position is so important. And I think that the clarity that he gives his quarterbacks in terms of having answers based on what the defense gives you is what develops them so well. It's actually interesting because the guy that played more outside of the offense than any of them is Caleb Williams, and he's the one struggling most to try to move forward out of that offense. Everybody else, like Baker, gave himself over to the system and then would play on top of the system, at times. Same with Hurts, same with Kyler, same with Miller Moss, obviously, because, he maybe doesn't have the talent of the other guys. But I think that's what makes it so effective. And real quick, the blueprint at Oklahoma, Riley's MO was that they were number 1 in the country during that span in rushing yards per attempt. No one really realizes that, but number 1. Rushing yards per attempt. And then their quarterbacks would sit between like 3 and 8 in terms of in the country, their total passing mark. And that's exactly where USC is right now. So they're following the blueprint of getting back to the run game, allowing their quarterback to be dynamic. Their defense is a lot better than it was a couple of years ago. They've got a weird game against Michigan State that's going to kick at 8 local in LA, 8 p.m. Michigan State's playing at a body clock of 11 p.m., which means the fourth quarter is going to start at something like 1:15, 1:30 a.m. Eastern time, which is wild. So they've got that game this week, and then an absolute monster against Illinois. And we'll see if Illinois can beat Indiana this week in Bloomington.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I'm in role play mode today, but okay, I don't know if UCLA is interested in any of these guys. But if UCLA,
my answer is no.
If UCLA walked in and asked Dan Mullen, Jed Fish, and Kenny Dillingham to leave your jobs and come work there, which one would go? Would any of them take it? Would you advise any of them to leave UNLV, Arizona State, and Washington to go to UCLA?
UNLV.
Yeah, you would. Dan Mullen, you would leave and go there.
I mean, okay. Dan would. I don't think the other two would go. Okay. I wouldn't.
Would you take the job? Would
Clearly
you leave,
not Jed.
Would you leave Fox?
Would I know. No. No.
Yeah, you sport the Rose Bowl more than anyone.
That's right. You're a big Rose Bowl guy.
You'd be there for I don't know how many home games they play.
It'd be
no
your
fans.
office, yeah.
You get 7 games in that beautiful stadium.
Yeah, don't you? How many kids do you have?
3 boys.
Yeah, that would help their attendance tremendously. Just 3 kids showing up.
Yeah, it would.
Jeez.
Oh man. I feel bad. I actually have gotten to and God bless them and obviously we lost Terry Donahue a little over a year ago. He was the UCLA coach that had a lot of success, at UCLA, and went to several Rose Bowls. And we've become really good friends with their family. Live near them here in Southern California, and I always see them, and in particular his daughter. And it's just like, they want UCLA to be relevant and good so badly, and it hurts their heart to see where it's at. And I don't know what the answer for UCLA is. They don't have the finances. I don't think. Listen, the Rose Bowl is the wrong home stadium for them. I am a Rose Bowl honk. You guys know that. I love the Rose Bowl game, but that stadium for UCLA, that far away from their campus and that cavernous, when they can only get 25 or 30,000 people maybe into the stands, they need to rethink that. And I know they don't have a ton of money, but there's a little, I think it's called Franklin Field. There's a field on their campus right in Westwood that they could do something similar to that. They could build a 28,000, seat stadium. Now parking would be a nightmare, and then they would have to deal with all the HOAs around them that have all the power in the world. But, something like that would be much better for them, because if you bring a recruit to the Rose Bowl and you're like, hey, check it out, look where we get to play, he's going to look around and be like, no. I don't know what the answer is for them. It's not me, I can tell you that.
In the chat, I was going to ask you this anyway, but they wanted us to ask, so I will again. Ty Simpson, I know the games have been blowouts, so maybe it's not attracted your attention. This guy's not letting the ball touch.
No, it has.
He's not letting the ball touch the ground right now. So what do you see in Ty Simpson?
He has played some of the best football in the country the last 2 weeks, in particular last week against Wisconsin. Even the drop from Ryan Williams in the end zone was an absolute dime. It was a beautiful throw. I appreciated the game plan a lot more from Alabama in terms of utilizing Ryan Williams. So he lined up outside a lot more than he lined up in the slot, but it wasn't just about where he lined up, because he actually got more of his targets when he lined up in the slot, guys. But all of his catches were on out-breaking routes, and they ended up being outside the numbers. And that's where he's magical. You and I both know it. When this guy is in space, that's where he is magical. His one drop was his one target over the middle of the field, and you just wonder, after he got beat up against Florida State, there was a kind of a converging defense right there, and Ty put it on the money. Listen, I don't know what happened against Florida State. I really don't. Maybe we'll look back on that game and we'll just think to ourselves, well, actually, Florida State was ridiculously good and Alabama didn't play their best. Maybe that's the case because that's the way it looks in hindsight. But I don't want to play Alabama right now. Like, if Ty Simpson is protected, he will carve you up. The whole issue with Florida State was their offensive line played absolutely bootleg. They were terrible. And now that they're protecting Simpson, when he's protected without pressure, he's almost 80%. I think he's 76% throwing the football, and it looks really, really good. So I'm starting to be bullish on Alabama. The effort level stressed me out after the first week. I didn't love the game plan. I didn't know the direction of what things were going to go. But, man, there was a proud program the last couple of weeks, albeit against lesser competition. And trust me, Wisconsin is not a very good football team. They just aren't. They're maybe going to be a 3-win football team during the course of this year. However, with that being said, like, there's some real positives to build on for Alabama.
Hey, Klatt, I don't think Clemson's tired of winning, but if they are, they can send Dabo on his way. He's 55. He's just learning how to coach, according to him. What was your take on Dabo whining behind the podium after the 1-2 start?
I would rather, I would rather you get a, I don't want to say abrasive, but like I would rather the Brian Kelly press conference or the Sark press conference when you're getting defensive of your team rather than of yourself. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that in the college game, the coach, if I was the coach at UCLA, I would be communicating to my team through the media all the time. The way that I talked about them, the way that I defended them. I would be trying to build the culture of the locker room so that I was earning their trust by the way that I talked to the media. I have this strong opinion. I don't care what the media thinks of these coaches or what they think they deserve, or this guy's like, Brian Kelly was a jerk. I don't care. I don't care because Brian Kelly's obligation is not to the media at all. And I know that might be controversial. I'm not sure. But his obligation is to his team. And when he defended them like that, they loved it. When Sark bit the head off the reporter in defense of Arch loved it, and they were doing it for that purpose. And then when you go out there and you do it the way that Dabo did it, it just feels different, and it feels more transactional, I guess.
Almost like he would try to outrun his team going down a hill before games. Almost like that.
Look at you.
I know. It's a long-running debate between these two.
Yeah.
Dunaway's big Dabo.
Yeah, Dunaway's big Dabo guy. They grew up together.
We grew up together.
Lance has never liked Dabo, so it's just been an ongoing fight.
Well, Dunaway goes to church. Lance might not.
Oh wow, Lance goes to church.
I actually do, Joel. But
come on, Joel.
I said might. I said might. I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Hey, and I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. So
we all are. We all are. We all fall short of the glory of God. Lance, that was. If that offended you, I very much apologize.
No, all good.
I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm with you, though. It just seems like Dabo, it's more about himself. He is the third highest paid coach in football. The fact of the matter, two guys in front of him are the last two that have won national championships, active coaches. And we sent this graphic out yesterday. He's 15-17 against winning teams over the last 5 years.
That's not very good.
No.
There's something wrong there because, they should be way better. Their talent composite suggests they should be way better. Their experience level suggests they should be better. There's a giant disconnect going on at Clemson with the way that they're playing and what's in their roster. So I don't know what the answer is. I can tell you this. They don't have a chance of beating Miami or Florida State. That conference is flipped on its head for me right now. And now I look at Miami and I'm like, I don't know if anyone's beating Miami in that conference. So I think Miami is a bona fide, maybe top 4 team in the country and might get one of these buys and win the ACC and be right there in the end.
Yeah, but see, Mario Cristobal never bought me an RC cola and a moon pie back in the day in Alabaster.
Touche.
So, yes.
Touche. Yeah, see?
So down with Mario, up with Dabo. Yes.
I'm still beating myself up. I'm sorry, Lance.
No.
Come on.
I mean, you've hung out with me before, and I've got a little wild side to me. I've tried to temper it down over the last couple of years. Brown told me last night on the way home from trivia, this is the best version of myself he's ever seen. Did you say that?
I did. It's the best version of Lance I've ever seen.
I
Yeah.
still get a little wild, but I was telling him I haven't been like truly intoxicated in a while. I like to still have cocktails, but I'm trying to pick my spots now.
Look at you. Yeah. Listen, I encourage that direction and support that. And even though I haven't spent any time with you over the last couple of years, well done, sir. Oh, bettering yourself and moving towards a better version of you is always the goal. So good job, man.
Hey, if Lane Kiffin can do it, right? Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, he did. I mean,
hey, listen.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Listen, I had to. I'm like chief center. Let me. raise my
the
hand
Fleming
first.
story is incredible. It really is.
Yeah, there's a reason why I'm just over 14 years sober. I mean, it wasn't because I decided one day like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me. It was like, hey, this is definitely not for me. I'm gonna wind up in a cell or a gutter. So. I hope I didn't offend you. I
You
apologize.
did not at all. Very, very, very difficult to offend me.
This show quite difficult to offend. Trust me, if we could have been offended, we'd be off by now.
But what I love about you is that you recognized it right there and you're owning up to it instantly. Some people would have tried to brush that off or anything. It's very manly, very godly. And I think I may have said something that offended Lance. And I'm just saying. I'm being serious. I'm not joking. I'm admiring the fact that he is like, I hope I didn't step across the line. I want to clear this up right now. I think that's a great trait.
Well, I know you take your faith seriously, and that is great. But look, I think you offended me much more last week when you scoffed at half the SEC quarterbacks being better than Arch Manning. I'm just saying.
You know what?
I won't bring religion up next week when we talk, but I was going to bring that up today.
I would take Bo Perbula. I would take Ty Simpson. I would take
Taylor Green.
I would take who?
Taylor Green.
Taylor Green tore up. He's leading the nation in total offense.
I would take Pavia. I'm not going to Green yet. I would take Pavia.
No, I'd take Green over Pavia.
Yeah.
Green to play. Tore up Ole Miss.
Okay.
I don't know if you've had a chance to watch that on film.
I have not. No, I have not.
Go watch that game. He scorched Ole Miss, and that was statistically the best defense in the SEC last year, Ole Miss under Pete Golding. And he torched
if he was Sark's quarterback right now,
oh my word,
he would be your Heisman favorite. I believe they would maybe be undefeated. I don't know.
Yeah. I got to go watch this. I'm sorry. I'm unaware. I have not been.
Yeah, go watch it. Let me know what you think.
He's got some Vince Young in him.
Yeah.
He does.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he was spectacular Saturday night. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, Aguilar and Gunnar Stockton were amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, what a fun game.
SEC's got some quarterbacks now. I mean, Arch may not be one of them, but they got some quarterback play in the SEC, no doubt.
Sure. Even with like Sellers, playing support. By the way, South Carolina looks terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
What's going on in the state of South Carolina? Like, my goodness.
Yeah. Their preseason projections were like Biden job numbers. They were all made up. I figured we'd talk politics.
Politics, religion.
We talk politics at the end. Yeah. I'm trying to get you off the hook, brother.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get you off the hook here.
It's funny because it's true, folks. If you're offended, then that's on you.
Yeah, it comes from the moderate on the show. So there you go. All
right, Texas Tech, Utah. Fox Big Noon kick Saturday morning. You'll see Klatt, Gus, and the AAG right there in beautiful Salt Lake City. Klatt, have a wonderful weekend. We will talk to you Monday, my friend.
Tip of the cap, folks. I love you guys.
Love
Have
you,
a good
buddy.
one.
We'll see you. Joel Klatt with us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline, presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag, and that's going to get you that $500 bet back bonus. You make a bet, you lose it, they put it right back into your account with MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round.